Following a wave of 90s sitcoms centered around predominantly Black American culture and opening the door for those soon to follow, A Different World was a show like no other on television at the time. Spin-off from The Cosby Show, the show was created to follow the life of Denise Huxtable's college experience at the fictional HBCU Hillman University. Denise, played by Lisa Bonet, entered the series smooth sailing, but along the way, Lisa Bonet had wound up pregnant, which ultimately ended with her being booted from the show and the Cosby Show empire altogether. The follow-up seasons became more focused on the remaining cast members and their lives at Hillman. The show touched on sensitive and controversial topics, hitting on the matters of race, class relations, AIDS, and others. It went on to last for 6 seasons before ending in 1993, and we've been wondering what our favorite Hillman alums have been up to ever since. Jasmine Guy, Whitley Gilbert. After Lisa Bonet's exit from the show was heavily centered around Jasmine Guy's character Whitley. Jasmine began her career taking on a non-speaking role as a dancer in Fame, this being where she met award-winning choreographer Debbie Allen, who would end up introducing Jasmine to A Different World producers. A high-class, fashionable, and what some may describe as bougie character. Her relationship with Dwayne, played by Kadeem Hardison, was highlighted quite often. Guy was nominated and won 4 NAACP Image Awards for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Comedy. After the show's end, she went on to guest star and appear in other film and acting gigs. She'd go on to further win more NAACP awards for her role as Roxy Harvey in the comedy drama Dead Like Me. She went on to have roles in shows like Melrose Place, Grey's Anatomy, The Vampire Diaries, and more. During her days on A Different World, she developed a close relationship with Tupac Shakur, who appeared on the show for a few episodes. She got married to her now ex-husband Terrence Duckett in '98, and their daughter Amani was born a year after. Now, speaking about financial trouble due to her divorce, Jasmine appeared on The Tamron Hall Show and disclosed she's in a much better position. As of 2021, you can catch her playing the role of Patricia on Amazon's Prime Video series Harlem alongside Meagan Good. Jaleesa Vincent Taylor, Dawn Lewis. Dawn Lewis entered the series a little later than the rest. She ended up enrolled into the uni at age 25. Her character brought a sense of depth and maturity to the rest of the cast, balancing out the commotion and chaos caused by the likes of those like Dwayne. The running storyline about Jaleesa was her relationship to Coach Oakes, played by Sinbad. After the show's end, she went on to appear in other shows, with the most notable being Robin Dumars on the ABC sitcom Hanging with Mr. Cooper, and Cheryl Spade in I'm Gonna Get You Sucker. Similar to her Different World co-star Cree Summer, Dawn has opted for off-screen voice roles, portraying Granny Grimm in the Cartoon Network series The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, along with other voice work in King of the Hill, The Boondocks, and Doc McStuffins. As of late, she is portraying Zelma, Tina Turner's mother, on the Broadway show Tina. Daryl M. Bell, Ron Johnson. Ron dealt with a few themes on dating and racism. He eventually opened his own nightclub, and his relationship with Freddie, Cree Summer's character, centered his experience on the show. Daryl went on to act in a few things, The Cosby Show being one, before stepping away from acting altogether. His stint on The Cosby Show had introduced him to his wife, Tempest Bledsoe, who played Vanessa on the show. She appeared in the faux reality show The Real Husbands of Hollywood, alongside Kevin Hart and Company in 2009. This being his last acting gig that we know of. Charnelle Brown, Kimberly Reese. Following Lisa's exit, another character was added to give the show a little razzle-dazzle. Charnelle was added to the lineup to portray Whitley's roommate, and the two eventually would become best friends. Kimberly's revolving themes, unlike her friends, were a bit heavier, with references of the apartheid and pregnancy trouble. Similar to her co-stars, Charnelle went on to act in other shows, appearing in Martin and Living Single. She got married to her husband, Eric Brown, in '88, and eventually opened her own acting school in Houston, the Charnelle Brown Acting School. Glenn Turman, Colonel Bradford Taylor, Colonel Bradford Taylor came onto the scene as a recurring role, but eventually got bumped to main character status. A Vietnam War vet, he had enough of the shenanigans over at the ROTC unit and would end up becoming a math professor. He ended up marrying and having kids with Jaleesa. Glenn himself was married to legendary singer Aretha Franklin back in the 80s and would end up divorcing in '84. He's won numerous awards for his work, including multiple NAACP awards. What some may consider an industry vet, Turman's resume is a long one, but we'll just list a few here. He's appeared in How Stella Got Her Groove Back, Men of Honor, Sahara, The Wire, Scrubs, The Twilight Zone, Burlesque, the 2010 adaptation, How to Get Away with Murder, OWN Network's Queen Sugar, and many more. He married his wife Joy Allen in '92, and as of recently you can catch him on ABC's limited series, Women of the Movement, playing the role of Mose Wright, Emmett Till's great uncle. Cree Summer, Winifred Brooks. When Cree Summer's character, Winifred, nicknamed Freddie Brooks, appeared on the series, it was like no other. Appearing during season 2, she ended up becoming roomies with Jaleesa during her freshman and sophomore years. A carefree, charismatic student activist, Freddie's energetic and spiritual personality was a standout on the series and showcased a different side of Blackness we don't often get to see portrayed in the media. Similar to Glenn Turman, Cree's resume is chef's kisses. Appearing on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air and Living Single, although she opted to stay behind the screen, her unique and throaty voice made her a prominent figure in the voice acting world. Her most notable works being those of Susie from the Nickelodeon animation Rugrats, Miranda on As Told by Ginger, Number 5 on Cartoon Network's codename Kids Next Door, and a plethora of animated shows on Cartoon Network and Nick. She got married to Angelo Pullen, and the two have 2 daughters, Brave and Hero. The shows listed doesn't even begin to touch the tip of the iceberg, but we'd be here all day if we were to list each and every one. In 2021, it was announced that Cree would be working on Disney's The Proud Family reboot, set to appear on Disney Plus on February 23rd of this year. Lisa Bonet, Denise Huxtable. Although she only appeared in the first season, a different world wouldn't have existed without her. Denise Huxtable, portrayed by Lisa Bonet, was a main cast member on NBC's The Cosby Show. Like many networks, they thought it would be a great idea for Lisa to have her own spin-off series. We see Denise enter college on the pilot of A Different World, but A Different World had already been introduced to us during an episode of The Cosby Show. Despite the show being created specifically for Lisa, viewers wouldn't see her again after season 1. It was reported that Lisa had gotten pregnant by her then-husband, Lenny Kravitz, and it's been said that although the cast members and Debbie Allen herself loved the idea of a pregnant Denise, Bill Cosby objected to it, saying that it would tarnish Denise's good girl image, also stating that Lisa can be pregnant, but Denise cannot, allegedly. Even though she got booted from her own series in A Different World, she'd returned back to The Cosby Show, but was later booted from that series as well, citing creative differences as to why. After The Cosby Show, she'd appear in direct-to-video releases like Enemy of the State, High Fidelity, and Biker Boys, reuniting with Kadeem Hardison, who played Dwayne on the show. After appearing in a 2005 film called White Patty, she wouldn't have another acting gig until 2014, when she starred in Road to Paloma. She began dating Jason Momoa in 2005, and the two have since welcomed 2 daughters. They married in 2017 after 12 years, but unfortunately, things ended in divorce in 2022. Were you a fan of A Different World? Let us know your thoughts and opinions in the comments section down below. Don't hesitate to click the subscribe button as well as turn on any post notifications so you can stay up to date whenever we post part 2. And like always, stay tuned for more true celebrity stories.